Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Thank heavens.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios.
In beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
It's the best kept secret in California for a reason. Van Nuys, that is.
Good morning, Indy. How are you, buddy?
I'm jolly. I'm chipper. I'm shucking and jiving over here at CHOBO Studios.
Happy anniversary, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, 5 years with beautiful Victoria Nelson, who's co-owner of CHOBO Studios. Beautiful
Hey. All right. Today's show
Yes.
is called The Prospering Power of Surrender.
That seems impossible.
I know, but by the end of this show, you won't think that. We're a group of truth. No. I read the wrong script here. We must realize that we are divinely irresistible to our greater good, and all that is necessary for us to delight is to delight in the thought of our desires fulfilled.
Yes.
Surrender really is the game changer. Getting in the spiritual habit of consciously trusting our desires to God and expecting results is the basic foundation of all religions. On this episode, Darrell and Ed remind each other and listeners that it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, and it's our good pleasure to receive it. And during the second segment, cool and confident, Katie McDonnell shares how miracles occur naturally with today's reading, divine order. Man, I can't wait. Can't wait to see what kind of YouTube comments we get this week. People love when we bring God into the equation.
Well, do you still have that quote I sent you from Thomas Troward to you and Kathy?
Oh,
because that real okay. Well, you're finding that. I'm going to let people know. Mm-hmm. They may not know. I'm going to help them realize the possibility that they might already be a member of the Funniest Thing Club,
right? And
have no clue. We always encourage everyone to be a member of the Funniest Thing Club, and the reason the title of the show is Funniest Thing isn't necessarily because we're so funny.
That's right.
Sometimes accidents happen and we appear funny.
That's right.
But it's because originally when we started the show, we were wondering, what are we going to call it? And Mike Dugan, the guy who encouraged me through the early part of my life,
right,
said, why don't you just call it Funniest Thing? He goes, because every time these like coincidences and miracles or something serendipitously happens, you're always calling me going, Funniest Thing, Mike. You're not going to believe it.
Yes.
So you might be a member of the Funniest Thing Club. And just to go into detail, we're a group of truth enthusiasts who live each day as ambassadors of God's love. As we consciously radiate love, we perform everyday miracles and experience better than expected outcomes.
Yes.
If you're already living this way or strive to, then you may consider yourself a member. We motivate one another by simply sharing how miracles occurred naturally in our circumstances as the result of living lovingly and expectantly. And that perfectly describes this episode because it's also living with surrender as complete trust that we are all, and I'm going to use this great affirmation from Florence Scovel Shinn that Nancy Norman's been using a lot.
Right.
I am divinely, you can say this to yourself when you're walking around, whether you're in New York City, walking down into the subway, and you're thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm really hoping that this aspiration of mine comes true. You could shift into high gear through the practice of surrender by simply affirming, I am divinely irresistible to my greater good.
That is correct.
I am divinely irresistible to my greater good, knowing that divine order is in effect. And here's the reason why surrender is key on this episode, and the two of us want to drive it home to each other, and maybe you'll benefit, is the fact that the problem we get into when we're pursuing anything, some things we pursue out of desire, some things we pursue out of fear. I got to make more money. I got to get a job. And the problem is we get into a how am I going to bring this about mentality. We start questioning how. How's it going to happen? How can we make this work? How am I going to get this to come together?
Right.
But the mind, our minds, the ego, the way our ego likes to go, yeah, we got to get. But our mind is not designed to figure out how.
Right.
It cannot.
Right.
And that's why we keep getting confused and distraught.
That's right.
And some of us just give up on our aspirations.
Right.
But even if you give up on your aspiration or your dream, the good news is divine order is always in effect.
Yes.
And it's being held for you in a divine account with interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I've proved that in my life,
Yes.
running away from art school and then resurfacing after being away for 8 years in the military and it coming right back.
Yep.
But I had to let go of those ideas. Oh, everything's I blew it. I ruined that opportunity. And none of that is true, folks. And we're going to drive that home with our divine power of surrender.
That's right. That's right. You just said something that Alan Cohen said in today's morning reading from A Deep Breath of Life, which was March 4th. And it says, from where?
Oh, yes.
Yes. It says, no one reaches love with fear beside him. And that's A Course in Miracles. It says, fear is never a good reason to do anything. Any action born of fear cannot succeed except as a lesson that fear does not work. Enthusiasm, delight, and service, on the other hand, are excellent motivations for endeavors, and they will attract tremendous support because you are investing in aliveness rather than self-protection. We always get more of whatever energy we put out into the universe. Our actions are less important than the beliefs and feelings that motivate them.
And to drive this home, because this really sums up my default setting.
Right.
Is what I'm going to read. And we're not sharing this stuff because we're pros at it. Well, yes, we are pros at it because we constantly have to apply this stuff on our own minds over and over.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean we just walk through our days without having to apply this stuff.
Right.
But here's the thing. The application elevates our mood.
That's right.
That's the good news. Like, it's not
Yes.
like, oh man, we're gonna have. I gotta keep believing in this garbage. When's it just? No, but the believing in it actually elevates my mood.
Yeah.
It's like instead of what are those circles called that you get into? A vicious circle.
Mm-hmm.
This is like
Delicious circle.
a delicious circle.
Like a donut.
Because yes, it's the donut. Because once, like when I drop into like, I'm going to read this and you'll get the whole thing.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm just going to read this and let it speak for itself. Okay, this is from a book called Touchstones. It's a book of daily meditations for men.
Wait, hold on. Do you need a drink? Here's a little Pellegrino for you.
Thank you.
If you're watching on YouTube, Darrell is a bit of a life coach. He sold me these 2 cardboard cutout bottles of Pellegrino that you can always put on your table to attract high-end clients.
When you're sitting in public.
When you're sitting in
yeah,
public.
so the girls think you're pretty.
So tune into YouTube and you'll see what I mean. And like and subscribe.
Yeah. If you actually request these tools, I will mail. Well, Ed and Darrell and Ed, the first person who would like these cardboard cutouts, we will mail them to you.
You got to act now because there are not many to go around. And if our manager catches us giving these away, he's going to be furious.
Newest members of the Patreon get it. How about that?
Yeah, right? All right. Let's hear this reading, and then we got to thank the Patreon folks, by the way.
Okay, here we go from Touchstones, and it's from March 3rd, which was just yesterday. We're recording on the 4th, and it is, why are you rushing so much? Asked the rabbi. I'm rushing after my livelihood, the man answered.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you know, said the rabbi, that your livelihood is running on before you so that you have to rush after it? Perhaps it's behind you, and all you need to do is stand still.
Wow. Yeah, man. I would have liked a little rabbi voice on that, but
I didn't have one.
I get it, man.
In
Yes.
my arsenal.
Yeah, you know what? That goes really well with what you know that 6-foot tall blue sloth I brought from Goodwill that's been riding in my car because the school doesn't want it, and so now it's just my fact passenger seat. So I'm driving around, and one day I was at a light and a guy was like looking over, so I just rolled down the window so he could make eye contact with the sloth.
Oh, and like the sloth was rolling down the window?
And but I started seeing sloths up in my life, like something I did in school with the kids was about sloths. A sticker of a sloth. Actually, dude, it's on my phone. Look, we were just talking about donuts. It's a sloth
on a donut.
On a donut, like it's an inner tube. If you look on YouTube, you could probably see this here. So I was talking to India when we had lunch last week because the Wi-Fi was down. He came down to my neck of the woods, and I was telling him how whenever something starts, like an interesting animal or something starts to pop up, I just put in my phone spiritual meaning.
Oh,
of
yes.
sloth.
Oh, this is going to be good.
So the spiritual meaning of the sloth is all about smiling, taking your time, relaxing, because always smiling. Because if you look at sloths, they're always smiling.
Yes.
Just knowing that things are always going to work out, So I was like, all right, I got this message. I got this giant sloth in my car. I call him Big Blue. I'm like, Big Blue, what do you think we should do? And he's smile, relax. It's going to work out. And I've been using this at work because there's a lot of like non-slovenly people. I know how sloth became one of the 7 deadly sins. What kind of jerk came up with that? And obviously I didn't know what a sloth was, man. The joy of taking your time and trusting. So I've been telling myself, if I start thinking these thoughts, my buddy who was another visual artist, a comic book artist back in a while back, he called it clucking when people were talking and just like worrying. He called it clucking. Man, they're just clucking. So when I
love that
clucking out there or clucking in my head, I just go, the sloth's not going to worry about this, and it lets me just cruise right on through, take my time, because like that rabbi said, it's this is really like, is our logic inspired by is it inspired or is it coming from a place of fear, right? And we find out as we grow in wisdom and maturity and knock our head enough times or whatever, that the universe is on our side. That this is why surrendering always works. Literally, the more we've practiced this stuff, the more I find that I'm born to be successful, that it's my own thinking and my own misunderstanding of what's going on that in the past short-circuited my success. But you pointed out that the word desire means of the Father. Like de is of and sire is father. So these things that are in our hearts, they're the things that we are here to do. So if we try to deny ourselves out of fear, maybe someone told us, you can't do that, that's stupid. Or, someone else subtly bullied us out of trusting in our own desire. But those are the things we come here to do. Yeah. They are going to happen. It's not even what people call magical thinking. It's actual principles that govern the universe. We came here to do certain things. Who would know better than us what we came here to do? Like what Duke can tell you something about like money. Like you said, I don't want to work with finances or something. Remember? And he was like,
oh no. What was it? Yes. When I was just learning all this stuff, I was still in the military. Yeah. And Dugan said, so what did you really want to do?
Right.
So I was telling him, I really went to art school and I didn't have, I was like the total gift. The red carpet was out.
Right,
and I threw it all away because I was intimidated, is the truth.
Uh-huh.
I thought I couldn't pull it off. Everyone was better than me.
Right.
It was intimidating. And he goes, well, why don't you just turn this over to God?
Right.
Say, okay, God, here I am. I'm willing to do your will, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And my mind went, like my face he saw my face, which was like, oh. And he said, well, what's wrong with that? And I said, well, what if God wants me to be an accountant?
Yes.
Because this is the way some of us think.
Right.
And like, I don't know. I want to believe in God, but I don't know if I really want to turn my will and life over.
Right.
Because it might mean doing something awful.
Right.
Like I really don't like doing.
Right.
That is so insane.
Right.
Because the thing we love doing is the thing that will create the ripple effect of love and joy. It's the thing we'd be best at. And the thing we're best at makes us happy, but it also is of service to others.
Yes.
Because we're sharing what we're best at to help others,
yeah.
whatever that job is. And I said, what if God wants me to account? And then Duga just went, and this was the best thing. I had the best people in my life to help me because he didn't give me any spiritual high top lecture after that
Right.
or say I was stupid. All he said was, well, do you like working with numbers? I said, no. He said, Darrell, don't you think God would much prefer have someone who's good at working at numbers and likes working at numbers
Yes.
to be an accountant instead of you? And it was the thing that I was like, yeah, that was the click that made
Right.
me go, what was I thinking?
Totally.
So now I'm like the Terry McBride style. You know, we got to remember to do this every morning.
Yes.
Which is stick your head out the car window,
Yeah.
or in the shower and say,
Yeah.
here I am, God, deal me in.
That's right.
Because then you know your day is going to be matched with serendipitous coincidences
Yes.
that contribute to your highest good, even within that day.
That's right. That's right.
Like little turns and
Yeah.
things that
Right.
avert disaster or bless you are going to happen. You're going to be calling your friends. Funniest thing, you're not going to believe it.
Yes.
But what did you do? I stuck my head out the window and said, here I am, God, deal me in.
Yes.
And now all these, I just kept going with the next thing in front of me that didn't feel like I had to push or shove or resist.
Right.
And magic started happening. And I know our guest has amazing stories about that coming up in the second half. So we're going to have more on that in detail.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, we got a bunch of things here. So one is thank you, Patreon subscribers, contributors. Lynn Ellen jumped on board. We are we are $6 away. So only in the beginning of the month from covering all the expenses for the show.
Thank you so much.
It means a lot to us. It's amazing.
And you're helping get us to continue to get this message out the best we can.
Yeah.
Through all your contributions.
And you're investing in your good by circulating money. Darrell and I were talking about this, like, we were just talking about how important it is to be, lately I've realized, and it's not by my own virtue, I've just been hearing a lot of people remind me this, that it is not about getting, it really is about letting and giving. It's really about being in a place of giving and letting and receiving joyfully, not going out and doing things that are attempting to get things. So when we're in it, so lately I have to ask myself, like, even if I'm saying I gotta get this done, even that's not, I gotta do it.
Yeah,
I gotta get
not
something.
good.
Switching that today, I was just like, today I am letting. Today I am giving. Today I am receiving joyfully. This puts me in the flow of life, and the contributing to the Patreon is one small way that you can do that by contributing to the show and to CHOBO Studios, and it just feels good. The more, last night I just was feeling, I started feeling all these things because I heard people talking about recession. I was thinking about my son's this and that for college, and it's just like all of a sudden I was like, I can't get that money out of the bank. I gotta keep it in there. I can't get a massage. And then I go, wait. Every time I've let go of that thinking and actually done something, even it seemed like outlandishly good for myself. Another massage, I can get that. I always get more in return by going with the joyous flow and circulating that money in favor of something that is life affirming, because it's life affirming. Like you said, then I'm going, deal me in, because everything we do gets better when we're excited about it. I love that. Don't you think that whatever you're thinking about, that what you would love to be doing, don't you think the universe wants you to do that too, so you can show up and be excited about doing it?
Yes, and it will support you the more you stop trying to either make that happen faster than it seems to be occurring naturally.
Yeah.
Or running away from it thinking, well, that's fun and easy, but I really got to do something practical for a living. Practical, when people say practical, and I'm just talking to myself, when I used this, because I did this for a majority of my life.
Right.
I need to do something practical to earn a living. I'd really like to be doing this, but you got to think practically.
Right.
That just means I'd rather be doing something miserable, so it's okay for me to do. So it gives me, this is the deeper meaning.
Right.
So it makes it okay that I enjoy doing something that comes easy and brings me joy, because we got in this weird idea, I don't know where we get it, that it's a sin to be successful.
That's right.
Or it's a sin it's really not realistic to be doing something you're really talented at and earning and being well compensated for it.
I'll tell you where one place I've gotten in, I've been realizing myself, is outward approval looking for outward approval of other people. And oftentimes the people, they're not even around anymore. It's the people who also were withholding their gifts. They were scared to go step out on a limb. And I don't want to upset them because if I step out, maybe back in the day, they would yell, they would get mad, they would feel threatened. They would say I was being bad by stepping out so boldly, by letting my own light shine so brightly. So I gave up shining it because I wanted their approval, right? And now it's like, I'm really exploring this. Like, what is life like if I don't need anyone else? If I'm the only approval that I need, is if I give myself, what happens is the right people I find out I already have the approval of the people who really matter. And the people whose approval I was seeking before, I don't want that. I'm the one who's been opening the door and letting the bully in every day when I seek their approval. Who cares? I don't even want them around anyway. We've all got work to do while we're here.
Yes.
Joyous work.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Patreon.com/funniest thing. Jump on board. We put out a lot of energy for the show. This is not a threat. We're going to continue to keep doing that. We want you to be on board and just watch the show keep growing. So patreon.com/funniest thing. Jump on and start contributing. Thank our listeners. Thank you all for listening, for playing along, for sharing, letting us know what you're up to. We love getting letters and emails, comments on the videos on YouTube, so that it just provides more energy that then blesses more people and brings more enthusiasm.
And what happens, and this is a fact, if you put on there like something that you're struggling with and want some affirmative thought, that's what you could call prayer. If it scares the word prayer, you can just call it affirmative thought or affirmative imagining for you. It's all the same. It's just semantics. What happens is, just by you getting clear with it, by typing it in the comment or sending us an email you don't want anyone else to see, we will honor your anonymity. What happens is the prayer now is activated because you got clear with it. Yeah. And a lot of you, and I know this from experience, who have, even myself, when I've gotten clear and written someone, or I've gotten clear and texted someone, hey man, this is going on. Before they even get back to me, a solution ends up 100%. Occurring.
Yeah. I've heard 2 stories just like this from like Reverend Ike, and someone else shared a story about how the healing happened before they even
it's because,
had a chance to respond.
Because the healing really does come from within.
Oh, yeah. I want to send love to Sue Hodgson, her dog, Bailey. Sue Hodgson sends out an amazing inspired email that Darrell and I get, and many of our listeners get. Yep. Her dog, Bailey, was going through some health stuff, and Michael Schoonover, Kathy Norman, Nancy Norman, Darrell and I, Silent Unity, we had everyone praying. Last night, this morning, I got a great text that Bailey slept through the night and was been eating.
And so did Sue.
And Sue slept through the night. And so we just continue to send love to Bailey and Sue Hodgson. We love you and appreciate you. The main thing, like when I love about praying for other people, is that it reminds me and them that we are not alone. That's what unity really is all about, that we're never alone. We're all divinely connected on the inside. And the only real place we can find that connection is within. But if you want to send us something externally, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got a nice, look at this, me hanging like a piñata. Darrell's smiling gleefully, and Stephen Tom Thorpe's getting ready to take a whack on me on the tree. You can check it out on YouTube, and that's from Kirk Chelson in Poland. And postcards it's time for postcards from Kirky.
In Poland.
So it says, life is lived from within out.
Yes.
You may not always be able to change the world about you, but you can change your thoughts about the world. And when you do this, you change your world, which is a world of your thoughts. And that is from Eric the Butterball Butterworth, who's a great Unity teacher and writer.
Author. And a great book of Eric Butterworth's that I recommend if you get one book of his, Spiritual Economics.
I'd say get 2 and celebrate yourself
as
well. That's
true.
Because they're both good. I mean, they're both in their own right amazing. Celebrate Yourself has short readings that are just about everything, everyday principles that you can apply. Spiritual Economics is something we all need to read.
Yes.
Because we need to everything. Charles Fillmore talked about this. It's really about spiritualizing our thought.
Yes.
Which really means it's like plugging our thoughts into the energy of life. If we're unplugged, we can think anything. We can make up any form of logic and it'll make sense to us. But if we don't feel, if it's not bringing life through us, then something is wrong. And sometimes we've been unplugged for so long, we forgot that what it's like to even be plugged in. So Charles Fillmore just called it spiritualizing our thoughts by doing like a morning routine of waking up, reading inspired books, taking some time to meditate, and then affirming some good for yourself.
Yeah, and for others.
And others, yes. Through yourself. Affirm it through your own mind and your own voice. And I just want to share that we've been attending Nancy Norman's Thursday. Indy's been there too. Thursday
night
prosperity workshop. It's 4 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you go to, it's Unity Joy of Life is the name of the
website.
Ministry. Yeah, if you Google Unity Joy of Life, it's a free Zoom call.
It's so good.
It's
1
so
hour,
good.
no more, and it's just power punched. And I just want to say 2 affirmations from that, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
These you could use. One is for health, one is for prosperity.
Yeah.
And they are from Myrtle Fillmore, and Nancy shared them with us.
Yes.
And the one is, I do not believe in sickness. I believe in vibrant health.
Yes.
I do not believe in poverty. I believe in lavish abundance.
Yes.
And you notice how words make you feel. Mm-hmm. Because the feeling is what gets the demonstration.
That's right.
When it's matched.
Thoughts plus feeling equals demonstration. That's right. And I tied to the ministry, and I got a great email, and it says, remember, the entire universe is lined up just to make sure my life is good and to ensure my well-being. Wow. What a great world to live in when we realize that. Grace Deathridge said, thank you. Funniest thing. I relaxed, sat back, and enjoyed the show. Loved hearing from Janet. I also love Bruno the dog reminding us all that the door is plenty open.
The door is open.
Yeah, because her dog will bark at the dog. It'll be standing at the door wanting to go outside. The door's open enough for him to go through, but he needs it open. He thinks he needs it open more, and he's sitting there barking to go out. He could just be walking right through the door.
He's like us, going, I don't know.
There's not enough money. I'm not good enough. Oh, I thought you were going to say something more. So
I just stopped that so you can finish up.
Oh, okay. Check out the website, DarrellandEd.com. We want to thank Chief Engineer Jeff Comfort. He's out there in Kansas City, Kansas. He handles the audio part, the podcast, the sound effects.
And by now, he probably received a gift from Darrell and Ed.
He did, and he loved it.
He did?
Yes.
Yeah, we found a shirt for him in our little walk after last week's recording.
What did it say?
It said Jurassic Pug because he has pugs. And it had like a little pug in like Jurassic Park.
Oh, my God. So him and the pugs, each week, they take us
right into the comfort zone.
Yeah. Shout out to our man Indy Fawcett over here at CHOBO Studios. How are you? But once again, buddy,
doing well. We're almost at 500 subscribers on YouTube.
That's amazing.
We're almost halfway to our goal, and it's just the beginning of March, baby.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So go to CHOBOstudios.com. Come on in, record your podcast, your show. They have a part of CHOBO Studios is PodShuttle.io, where they can edit all your shorts and reels and things for social media. We use it. We love it. Shout out to the prayer line, 800 now pray, 800-669-7729. They have an app. It's the letter U, the word pray. It's called Silent Unity. It really is the cornerstone of what the Unity movement was all about. They started actually just without phones. They would just say, at this time each day, we're all going to pray together. And
no matter where you were in the world, you just set your clock so it'd coincide with that time zone.
Yeah.
And you just meditate and know that, we're all connecting.
Yes. The recognition of unity is so healing. So that's Silent Unity, 800-669-7729. We use it all the time. It's a really powerful tool. If you are looking to recognize and tap into the prospering power of surrender, they will definitely help you do that. Let's take a few deep breaths together, shall we? This is partially inspired because Nancy Norman kept saying that Eric Butterworth said, I see myself experiencing success because I was born to win.
Yes,
this is changing everything, right?
It's the game changer.
It's the game changer.
I thought I was born to lose. Some people even mistakenly get that tattooed on themselves.
Dude, I feel bad for Bruce Springsteen. He thought he was born to run.
Oh, that's horrible.
So did I when I was young. I used to run away from everything.
I'd rather just take it easy and win.
So we're sending love to the boss. He's the boss, and he still thinks he's born to run? Come on. Poor guy. Let's take a breath to clear our mind.
Okay.
Surrender ain't a sin, 'cause I was born to win.
Surrender ain't a sin, 'cause I was born to win.
Surrender ain't a sin, 'cause I was born to win. I want to thank John Strickland, the great Unity minister, for that inspiration of that voice. For
That
some
voice.
reason, Darrell and I, it's a go-to for us. Let me read you a little Foster McClellan as we go out to the break here. He says, which one do I like? This one here? This is great. Forget it. Love is the magnet, for crying out loud.
Yes, love's the magnet.
We can never really fully describe the love of God. It must be felt through the heart. Love is the drawing power of the mind. It is the magnet of the universe. When we establish ourselves in the consciousness of divine love, we set free a natural, equalizing, harmonizing force. We've been unaware of this force, for it has been dammed up in our minds by human limiting thoughts. Not anymore. We can proclaim today, I will see all things through the eyes of divine love. I will draw to myself a new life of good. It will happen, my friend. That's what this show is about. This isn't like this. If this stuff isn't transformative for Darrell and myself, like, we're not doing it right? Like, we don't go, I'll do this morning routine, I'll get by.
No, the morning routine changes my whole attitude.
This stuff,
I look forward to
it's
it.
incredible. It's transformative. It is transformative. And every one of us, when it's just turning on the switch of life so that things work the way our heart, so we can get true satisfaction out of living. So coming up next, cool and confident Katie McDonnell shares how miracles occur naturally with today's reading, which is Divine Order. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from CHOBO Studios.
All right, it's going.
Oh, baby. Welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Today's show is called The Prospering Power of Surrender. And we're going to bring in Katie McDonnell in a moment. Darrell wants to read a little something. A little book he got from Unity of Santa Barbara. Highly recommend the Sunday service at Unity of Santa Barbara. It is at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can watch it on their website if you just look up Unity of Santa Barbara.
YouTube, you can find it on YouTube if you want.
Yeah. So they live stream it. Unity's
Okay.
been double dipping, like,
All right.
what is Spiritual Center of Redondo Beach straight into Unity? Or one or the other?
I hit the Unity Santa Barbara at 10 and then go straight into the Redondo Beach Center of Spiritual Living right at 11, baby. And
That's how your beard
that.
grew so fast,
yeah,
man.
yeah, exactly. Hit
You look
that
like a
ether
saint.
juice, baby.
So
All right.
this is a free publication called 40 Days of
Letting go.
Letting Go. And it's from Lent 2023. I never really understood Lent as a kid because it seemed like people were giving up things I didn't want to give up. I'm giving up chocolate. I'm giving up candy. I'm giving up swearing. Well, now I understand.
If you would have been part of the Catholic community you would have understood, because that was like the thing. What am I going to give up? People got mad if you don't give something up, man.
But it was always like something physical. It
No,
never
I get
se-
it. I totally get it.
Now I'm understanding the spiritual
Yes.
meaning of it. It's a process of 40 days of letting go of those attitudes of mind or beliefs that have been blocking me from my good.
Right.
So it gives in this book 40 things to consider letting go of.
You know how busy heaven would be if there was like a God with a checklist, like, okay, did Indy give up that thing? I think I saw him, like, if they had to like have a checklist of everyone if they were
To
doing
give
it or
up
not.
my Hot Pockets.
Yeah, right. You
Well,
would never
the
give up
good
those.
news is the only thing you need to ever let go of is the attitudes of mind that get in your way.
Yeah.
So this
That's
is
it.
from March 2nd, and this one goes perfect with today's show. That's why I picked it. And it's called I Let Go of Competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are raised, it says, I let go of competitiveness. Most of us are raised in a culture of competitiveness and marketing that encourages us to compare ourselves to others. The dictionary defines competitiveness as possessing a strong desire to be more successful than others. At its core, this is what that implies then competitiveness is a scarcity-based concept reflecting a belief that we aren't good enough unless we appear better than someone else. Oh, and that's what Instagram and all the social media is causing a real illness based on this competitive idea of I'm not good enough unless we, and here's the key, appear better than someone else. Theodore Roosevelt is credited with the saying, comparison is the thief of joy. I, like Mark Twain, said comparison is the death of joy.
Yeah.
It is also a death knell to creativity. Because when I'm comparing, I'm like sapped.
Yeah.
That like intuitive knowing when I'm creative it's short circuited.
Right.
And now I'm pushing through.
Yeah.
And I think that's being an artist. That is not.
Right.
That's competitiveness. Competitiveness keeps us focused on who we think we're supposed to be rather than celebrating who we already are. Competing against others means basing our sense of worth on a comparison with others' accomplishments rather than fully appreciating our own unique talents, traits, gifts, and expressions. Oh, what a relief. I wrote a note to myself. I'll read the Bible verse here. It says, all must test their own work, then that work, rather than their neighbor's work, will become a cause for pride.
Nice.
And, I was thinking about this because I will post the thing, some of my little paintings and stuff on Instagram, and then I kind of delete the app so I don't keep looking at it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for me, I can't help. I'll see other artists and I compare. By default, my brain compares, and I don't. The problem with comparing is that you're either better than or less than, but neither one is a good feeler. So I started thinking comparison, and then it dawned on me, what is comparison in my own mind, in my body? Because it's a terrorizing creature. And I realized that to sum up comparison for me, comparison is an abusive stage mother.
Right.
Anytime because it's never for good.
That's right.
And it's always, and it's hurting that little innocent, creative little boy within me because it's saying, you need to get on stage, Darrell. Don't screw it up this time.
Right.
Yeah, I did everything for you so we could be here.
That's horrible.
I know it's horrible.
All right. I also realized like competitive is like calm is like common, community, shared. It's like almost like a word. Maybe it means shared pettiness.
Oh wow!
Because it has there's like a similarity.
It is
there.
a pettiness.
Competitiveness.
Yes.
Competitive is like shared pettiness. We're going to be petty together, and one of us is going to win, and we're going to put each other down and try to be better or worse than the other. That
Anything you can do, I can do better.
That's horrible. But I'll tell you what's not horrible. We have a guest in the
can't
house
wait.
today, all the way from New York. A very intelligent and inspiring young person named Katie McDonnell. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
this has been great to watch.
You were telling me that you were considering backing out, but you decided not to. What happened?
No, I mean, I was thinking about it after I had said yes, which was my instant gut reaction to say, yes, this is great. I'm honored to be here. Then all of these things started happening. I have an event tonight. I had a midterm move to next week that was supposed to be last week. I already had one scheduled. So now everything feels so stacked. I was like, all right. It felt almost like a to-do list item. And I was like, and I don't want to come at it that way. Of course,
Right.
I want to come at it as a fun guest. And I was like, I have the podcast, a law school event tonight, 2 midterms to study for. And now I'm like, I'm so glad I did this. What a great way to start the day. I was saying during the break, I feel like I get to watch the magic happen just watching you two the first half. So thank you for that.
I'm so
welcome.
glad you said that because that's a reminder. That happens to me often. I'll say yes because that real me, the real me that knows better than I do, goes, this will be fantastic.
Yes.
And for some reason, between then and the actual date, I start withdrawing. And it really goes with today's show, which is how willing am I to be open to accept the good that's for me? Because every time I do follow through on those things, I'm always telling Ed or my wife or whoever, I'm going, you know how I was thinking about backing? I'm so glad I didn't, because now I feel recharged. And then what happens is, because I got such a high like this is really how it changed. It's like spiritualized. A lot of the things that I was putting myself up against the 8 ball with, like some of them miraculously seem to evaporate or come together effortlessly. And I'm like, this is the key. I can't forget this. But I always forget it the next time it happens. But the best part is I still delight in how it always surprises me how well it works. At least you for your sake and me for my sake and Ed's for his sake, we stick with the thing that felt so good and we don't say no to it. Because every time I did say no in the end, it was like a sour feeling. You know, where I started buying into all like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I better say no to that now, even though I don't really say I need to, because it's still going to fit within my calendar. I just think I need to mellow out, or I need time. It always leaves a sour feeling, and every time I continue with the intuitive yes, everything seems to fall into place.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it just feels like infectious, like energy. And what's funny is, as you guys were speaking, I started taking all of these notes because I was like, I'm not sure what I wanted to talk about, but it just started flowing. And the one word I wrote in the middle of my post-it, the first one, is ease. It just felt like ease. And it's like, that's where you want to be, I think, at all times, even when you're feeling stressed or you're feeling, what would make me feel at ease and in that kind of flow state.
Yeah.
So
that's so true, man. That's what a lot of pro athletes train. Everyone's training so that in the moment of the game or whatever you're doing, you can just be at ease and make still like inspired choices when we get tempted, when these fearful patterns might pop up. Or I like that, aiming towards ease. It's like I'm always retraining my nervous system to let it be easy. That's why I like the sloth thing I was mentioning earlier. It's like, the sloth is just, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to slow down, and I love slowing down. You know, things aren't working, great. That means we're not going to get done what I thought we were going to get done. Let's see what else we're going to get done.
Well, I'm excited just to share a little, for you to share a little bit, Katie, about, I mean, you shared one incident with me. We met at a party I was at without my wife. No. I
was like, where are you going with this?
I just said I'd say that for shock value, because now people who are listening in their car looking at other things are complaining about the driver that just cut them off. They went, what? What did he just say? So now that I got your attention, we met. We had this best conversation. All of a sudden you started you started speaking my language. You were telling the story how you just went about one day with ease in New York City, and how serendipitously it was like one miracle after the other. Can you just share a bit of that story?
Darrell, you know what's so funny is I was wondering what I should share, and yesterday I had another one of those days.
Oh, then share that.
This happened yesterday, the day before this podcast.
Yes,
so
share that,
please.
But
this just happened, and you know what's funniest thing is that your theme of the week of just, ease or not ease. What was the
surrender?
I had your text, which was so interesting to me. Oh, the power of surrender.
Yes.
Okay. I was not feeling that power these past few weeks, because just a quick aside, I guess, is that in law school, people line up their summer jobs kind of over winter break and in the beginning of the spring semester. For me, I didn't have anything lined up. I'd been trying, but nothing was really panning out for me. So that's kind of been like this theme of coming back to school, being happy for my friends who have these amazing offers they've accepted, but then kind of looking back at myself like, oh no, I still don't have anything. What am I doing? Kind of getting into this funk of, all right, what am I doing? Next steps, trying to almost force it, which is kind of what you were speaking of earlier. So this one firm I really wanted, I kept following up, pressing, sending these emails, trying to get in contact with these calls. Nothing, heard nothing. Then Thursday, I receive a rejection email without any responses to my prior correspondence. And I said, all right, I could take this one way as this sucks. Like, I worked so hard for this. But then I thought I had heard a quote about rejection being redirection. And I thought, you know what? Maybe that's what this is. So yesterday morning, I was going to get my hair done. And I thought, let me do something good for myself. I'm on a student budget.
Aw, yes.
No job lined up, but let me drop this.
Yes.
Yes.
On myself. I go to my hair salon, and on the way, my old boss actually was telling me there was a McDonald's on the corner that his son used to have birthday parties at, and it's across the street from my hair salon. For some reason, I just thought, let me send him a text with the photo because I'm thinking of him. And sometimes when you're thinking of someone, if you just reach out, just do it. So I send him a picture. I spy da-da-da's McDonald's, and he responds right away. He's like, I was just thinking of you. That's so funny.
Oh, wow.
I get my hair done. You know, she's telling me about some hard times she's facing. I end up tipping her, and I'm like, I don't have the money, but she seems worse off right now. Whatever.
Wow.
As I'm leaving, he texts me back, and we're going back and forth. And I said, I'm having a hard time finding a summer job. Do you know anyone? Or are you still looking for an intern? I would love to come back. He responds saying, actually, my boss's boss is looking for an intern, and he would love to have you. We were talking about you the other day.
What a
Whoa!
And I call my mom, who I just called Thursday night with the bad news. And I said, you know what? I shouldn't just call her with bad news. Let me share some good.
Yeah.
So I call her back saying, hey, Mom, wanted to give you some good news to kind of seal off the bad news that something may be happening here. And as I'm walking through the store, $20 falls in front of me, which is the extra tip I gave at the hair salon.
Wow.
And I look around and I go to 5 people in the area. Hey, did you drop $20? Did you drop $20? No. Because I wanted to make sure if someone had just dropped it, I'm not just taking it, right?
Right.
But when everybody said no, I said, I think this is supposed to be mine. So I walk away, and it ends up paying for the groceries that I just picked up at the Target. I'm like, what a day. I get rejected that Thursday. That Friday morning, I take the one step of just reaching out, and it wasn't to reach out to ask for help. It was just a genuine, I'm thinking of you moment, and the rest of my day just turned around.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
The whole thing is hinged on your ability to go with the flow instead of going with down with the ship.
Yeah.
Like, when you got that, and your mind put in your head this thought, rejection could be redirection. Okay. And this is the thing, man. Once even the tiniest bit of hope comes in, like even the tiniest bit, it changes the whole direction.
And you did it. You demonstrated perfectly. Like last night when I was a little bit feeling clenched for money, I decided, you know what? I'm taking $200 out of the ATM. What's the difference? It's my money. But I'm going to do the thing that feels good, right? And I ended up just going home. When I got home, $1,400 came off my budget, something I thought I was going to have to pay, like immediately, because I reopened to the flow. In your case, you gave yourself the hair
permission
that you wanted.
And then you see the McDonald's.
It ended, then you did something loving and kind for the
delightful.
Delightful. And that ended up giving you the internship. And then the money for the extra tip. All of this is because you said yes for yourself and everyone else.
But then finding out, this is the thing we can't forget, to also discover that the universe was already conspiring on your behalf, that I'm born with, because you find out, unbeknownst to you, not only was this guy talking about you for work there, no, he was talking to the boss's boss, and they were all speaking highly of you. And this wasn't even on your radar.
And you getting
but
your
it was
hair
all
done
happening.
led to that, reconnecting with that thing that was already happening. And then, oh my God, that's just incredible.
It was awesome. I have to say, it felt so good. And it's kind of nice because, of course, when you're in your job, you always want to do the best you can. And it's kind of what you were saying earlier, sharing what we're best at to help others. And I was like, I actually was an accounting major my first 2 years in college, and then I switched majors, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I said job security, I'm good at math, I'm very black and white. It was boring. I didn't really like it. I just
good
thought
for
I was
you.
good at it because I got good grades.
Yeah.
But I took one class with a super inspiring professor who said, switch majors. What are you doing? And I was like, all right. So I did, which led me down this whole path, which ended up at the job that I got before going back to school, which is now the people that I'm speaking to now. And it's just a nice reminder that, hey, you did do a good job. We want you back. And like, you hope that that's what people think of you. But it's really nice when like you get that kind of, I don't know, that feedback.
Another divine indicator. You said yes to your inner feeling that accounting wasn't the thing for you. And how all of that is leading you to here. Because in my life, every time, like I switched from a bio major, whatever, I was like, and for me, it was even like less intelligent of a decision. I was like, how do I get out of here sooner? I switched over to psychology, which turned out to be the thing that I was good at and that I enjoy. But every time I just said yes to something within me that felt good, it always leads to the right thing, like to better and better things. It just goes so well with what the show, why surrender is to why it's prospering power, because we're surrendering to something far greater than we can even rationally understand, and it feels good.
Well, and it takes guts, though, to say no to what seems to be a sure thing. Like, that's the faith portion that has to that enables us to do it. But even if you have the tiniest bit of faith and you have friends that say no, if you're not happy there, you say, yeah, but it's secure, but this is, I could, it makes my bread and butter. Just go, look, I am telling you, if you say no to that, just the decision in your mind, you're right. I'm not really happy doing this. This isn't going to be fulfilling. I'm open. This is all you have to do. You don't have to take drastic action in that moment.
That's right.
I'm open for something that really fits.
Right.
And it will come. I don't know why I brought this little quote here, but here's another good one for you, Katie, because I've heard many quotes on faith. My favorite definition of faith, by the way, is joyful expectancy.
Right.
In that way, because faith is really believing all things are coming together for good. Confidence, a smiling man is a confident man, which means with faith that all things are coming together, everything's on our side. Yeah. But I never heard this quote. And this was really good because a lot of times, a lot of well-meaning people in our lives, including me to myself, will think, in this case, fear's unreasonable. Meaning, in this case, I got to do some reasonable things.
Okay, yes.
But this clears that up. Faith is not contrary to reason, but rather reason grown courageous.
Yes.
And that's by Sherwood Eddy, meaning, okay, I'm able to get honest with this. This doesn't make me happy. There must be something better for me. That's all it takes.
It's so funny. Courageous is often just a willingness to have fun with life.
Yes.
It's courageous.
Yes.
A willingness, because one of the biggest lies that or misunderstandings that most of us have is we don't realize how much we are loved by life, by God, by the people around us. So we think like, oh, me doing this thing for me, like me doing something nice for myself. Wow, that's such a big deal. But that's actually the turnkey. So much of the time for more good to come through is realizing how loved and supported we are. I was telling Darrell last night, I had this thought because I was thinking it. How often do I sit and realize how much people appreciate me being present in the situation? Like that, just the way I appreciate you guys, that I'm that person for many people. Just realize, taking that, because oftentimes I think the opposite.
Yeah.
But just taking the time to, it's not ego, it's not just ego-centered
No,
to realize
it's not.
the truth that we are a beacon of light when we enter the room and people are blessed for, that brings humility more than anything to me. It doesn't bring something better than ever. It just makes me go, wow, this life is this beautiful mystery. The fact that I am a light too, that makes me more loving, more kind, more generous to others.
This stuff is amazing, and I just loved your story because
Me too.
These are the stories that reinforce that this isn't just a one-time, I'm going to say this new quote I heard, this is not a one-walk dog.
That's right, Kathy Norman.
Which means if you have a dog, you're never just walking at once. You know what I mean? You got to walk him in. But I really want us all to appreciate what you just shared, as that's the reality of our living conditions. We forget that when we're pushing on closed doors.
Yeah.
We knock on the wrong doors and we don't get an answer and we get upset and disappointed and think we're not good enough, when really, no, that was the wrong door. There's a better door. Just surrender, get your hair done. I wish I had more hair in my head to get done, but get your hair done or whatever.
Wig.
wig, whatever the joyful thing to do.
The lesson is just get your hair done.
Yes,
Right.
it could be. I'm going to use that
Well,
as my
that's-
motto
that's
because
the- that's the
metaphorically, yeah.
And that's just the other thing about what you're saying too. That's why I love the sloth. The
Yeah.
sloth doesn't just sit there and like I'm gonna wait. It's like I'll go get my hair done. It's
Yeah.
like it's like it's an energy of going like I know this is gonna turn out somehow. I'm just gonna smile and go with the flow and be a friendly light to those around me while it
Smile.
happens. It's helped me at work because I had a meeting yesterday, and I used to be the guy who was like, if I felt like the ship was going down, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to save everyone, and I'm going to be because I have a lot of heart. But yesterday I was like, I'm too tired to do any of that. I'm just going to be the sloth on the Zoom, and I'm going to smile, and I'm going to bless everyone, and then once the shift started, I'm learning how to just if someone's blowing smoke, just let them blow the smoke. Smile like a sloth. It's gonna clear because the nature of life is to clear. The nature of life is to get better. So
Yeah.
I just waited and blessed and smiled, and then all of a sudden one guy had a great idea. And then I just jumped on the plane that already started to take off, and then I added my energy to that rather than having to be the guy that I'm going to go in there and strap that plane on my back, and I'm going to jump in the sky, make it fly. I just waited till the plane started flying, and then I became the cheerleader. And sometimes that is like the most powerful thing we could do when we realize that, because otherwise I'd be adding my energy to the nature to the fight,
Weight.
to the fight,
weight. Yeah.
to the weight. But if I just let the smoke clear and be the calming, loving presence that the sloth who's smiling, no, it's going to clear. Then I can, it's a new way for me to bless situations.
Do you want to read the daily word now? Are you ready for that? Do you have it? Or should we read it?
I do have it. Let me see.
Oh boy, we love when people read to us.
Okay, I'm doing divine order.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
That's
Are you ready?
That's your whole life. Is divine order.
Yes, it really is.
You know what? Well, I could tell you this after, but you made me think of something else. I can't stop writing on these little
let's
post-its.
hear
You
it.
guys
Come on,
are
lay
these
it on us.
nuggets. I'm like, I got to keep writing these things down to remember my response because I don't want to stop it.
Yeah, lay it on
you
us.
could
We
say-
never get to anything,
No,
so let's hear it.
You could tell us now.
No, you know what's funny though is that this isn't easy. I feel like I tell this story, I'm here for a snippet. People think I live my life like this every day is a Friday getting my hair done, but it's not. It's those days that remind you that you should live every day that way.
Yes.
Right.
And that it went for months of me saying, how am I going to get this job? What should I do? Throwing my application everywhere, following up, pushing, thinking that I'm doing the next best thing when really I should have gotten my hair done in January.
That's right.
But what I realized too, and I think a lesson I'm taking into the new year when I really stopped and tried to reflect in January and now we're in March was I realized the way I had been living my life and why I think I had been feeling this bout of unhappiness, not like a total overarching unhappiness, but just how can I be happier, is that I realized I was doing things with other people in mind in that, am I doing this because I think I should or because I think somebody else wants me to? Or am I doing this because I want to genuinely? And I'm starting to try to only say yes to the things that align with both. That I genuinely want to and I think it'll make someone else happier versus just the other person in mind. I don't know. And then I kind of also realized that I felt a bit out of control when negative things happened. And I felt like, oh, this is happening because of this. And I kind of realized I'm also making a lot of great choices and I'm not reaping the benefits of those consequences because there can be positive and negative consequences. So beginning to just be grateful for the things that I have done and the things I will do and living in that has been, wow, so different.
Yeah, that's great. I want to say this too, because you nailed it. Something I was thinking, which is that a lot of times when we think sure thing, really all that means is someone else outside of us was sure that was right for us.
Settling.
And we're afraid of not getting their approval.
Yeah.
So we know it's almost like this trick. The sure thing is really we're going to get their approval. It's not that we're actually going to be happy and successful, but we were trained to look outside for approval. That's horrible. Thankfully, I have friends like Darrell who are like, or me and with him, it's like, I'll tell you what the sure thing is, Darrell. If you do that thing, you're going to be miserable. He'll tell me, I'll tell you the sure thing. You're going to hate that. So it's good to have friends that care about us, like you said, what's good for us.
That's like it really is instead of, because it's like settling. Oh, I'm settling in a chair and this is it. Maybe I'll die soon.
Right.
But there was a great Barney's ad, and I grew up in New Jersey, and I know you did too. So I was always in and out of New York City. Because she's from New Jersey. Did you know that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Attractive.
I try not to rep it and claim it.
Yeah.
But I was there for some time.
The Garden State.
Attractive and smart usually means you're New Jersey.
Oh, okay. That's a new definition for most of us, but go ahead.
Anyway, there was an ad in Barney's, and I know Cohen stole this too, but we used to see it. It was the best ad for Barney's menswear. That was like the big store in Manhattan at the time in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. And it was select, don't settle.
Yes.
Select, don't settle.
That's right. That's right.
That's so true. Being selective with the things you do,
Yeah.
it's just a game changer.
Yeah, it's a universal law that we get to choose between being a beggar or a chooser. And a lot of us in the past were taught to be beggars when we come to God, but that just affirms lack. That affirms that we're not going to get it. Choosing boldly and then trusting God, the life in the universe to deliver it, that works every time.
All right, I guess now we
I
can
think
read.
being open, sometimes things choose you.
Yes.
Amen. Yes.
Well, the good you seek is seeking you, Katie. That's for sure.
Choosers attract choosers. Beggars attract beggars. All right.
Okay. On that note, I have the divine order in front of me.
Okay.
Here we go. I cooperate with divine order and know peace. Divine order is not something I need to pray for or to try to bring into my life. It simply is. I need only look around me and notice the rhythms of the natural world in easy, effortless harmony. Today, I bring that harmony into my mind and heart. I appreciate divine order in the intricate functioning of my body, the beating of my heart, and the respiration of my lungs. I also appreciate how divine order operates in my mind as my dreams and ideas manifest into thoughts and feelings, which in turn manifest in the physical world. Divine order is the truth of my life, just as it is the truth of all life. I trust this order is mine to use to create the life of my highest imaginings, bringing my dreams to vivid life. Would you like me to finish that with, all things come into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. That is John 1:3. I'm not a Bible reader.
Yeah,
so.
no, it took us a while to get those too.
What's interesting is Neville Goddard, a teacher, calls the imagination the father principle of God. And if you put it into that Bible quote, that it comes from we imagine it. We create it within ourselves. And without that, nothing would ever come into being.
True.
And we are an integral part of the creative process. So, all right.
Well, with that, before you go, we have a story, don't we?
Anything else you want to add before we wrap up the show, Katie?
No, just thank you for having me. This has been awesome and a great way, again, to start the day. I'm glad I said yes and stuck with the yes.
Well, we appreciate you. You've been an excellent cheerleader for our spirits.
Yes.
We feel so much better now. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can get you back on sometime soon to join us.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully when I'm in Cali visiting my mom, I can actually see you guys in person.
Yeah, we'll put you in the hot seat.
We got CHOBO studio. We'll pull in the CHOBO chair and we'll get you in the studio. That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. Thank you guys.
Here we go.
We can't.
I forgot. Okay, so Katie,
you may or may not remember the story about you.
Yeah. So Katie's always been a very encouraging attorney. One day she met a new client. When he came into her office, she said, I have some good news and some bad news. You want to be this dude?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No. How about you be Katie and I'll be the dude.
Okay.
So Katie's always been a very encouraging attorney. One day she had a new client. When he came into her office, she said,
I have some good news and some bad news.
What's the bad news? Asked the accused.
The bad news is your blood is all over the crime scene and the DNA tests prove you did it.
What's the good news?
Your cholesterol is 130. Katie was so encouraging.
Well, hopefully that's not the client in the future. We don't want to be that.
All right, Len, you want to sing us out?
Oh, yeah, we got Len here singing a cappella. I have to really sing this?
You're the
Okay.
only one who knows it.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Wait. Chobi, you want to come in and sing
What's
the
up?
Steal Your Sunshine part? Come on.
Sure, yeah, I don't know it, but I'll figure
You'll
it
know
out.
the one
You'll-
line. You'll sing it with me. We need a chorus here.
Okay, get
But
in
in
here.
the meanwhile, thank you all for joining us, man. Katie, thanks again for joining us.
Yes, and you can go to darrellanded.com to find easy links to everything we do. Here comes the third member of the Monkeys.
All right.
Funniest Thing Club.
Okay, are
Yes.
we ready?
Yeah.
And of course, you can't become if you only say what you would have done. So I missed a million miles of fun. And I know it's up for me,
If you steal my sunshine,
making sure I'm not in too deep,
if you steal my sunshine,
keeping bursting on my feet.
if you steal my sunshine.
Yay!
From CHOBO Studios.